everyone. Welcome to another episode of Between the Studs. I am your host, Daniel.
I'm Corey.
I'm Randy.
And we're back with another radical episode of LEGO Masters Season 5 review.
Totally awesome.
That's right. We are talking about the Is It Brick 90s themed.
Yes.
Which, what a cool new theming for this challenge that they've done, twice before at least?
Yeah.
They've done this a few times.
So good.
I like this a lot as a recurring challenge, but the Is It Brick, the whole goal is to recreate a real object from a scene to specifically fool the eyes of typically a guest judge. So what are y'all's first impressions of this challenge? Have you liked previous iterations of this challenge before? Did you like new things about this one? What are your overall thoughts about this week's episode? Corey, why don't we hear from you first?
I was excited to see this type of episode again. I think it adds a lot of creativity. You know, they're not forced to come up with their own ideas, which can be difficult under a crunch. You just pick something out and you copy it. Yeah. So it really shows more of the skill side of things than the creativity storytelling side of things, which kind of gets a little old after a while. So
absolutely a very technical challenge, not in the sense of an engineering challenge like earthquakes or bridge building, but in terms of really good building techniques.
Art usage,
Exactly.
Yep.
How about you, Randy? Overall thoughts about this week's episode?
I love it. Having grown up in the 90s, I loved it. The Jason Bateman poster was just top tier. Yeah.
I think Will Arnett had a lot of good jokes this episode.
It did.
I think,
he was good.
I think my favorite one from this episode is, gosh, I hope I get to work with or I hope I get to meet Jason Bateman someday. Even though they worked together on Arrested Development for
how many seasons?
6 or 7 seasons probably. So that was very good as an Arrested Development fan.
I do think they filled a room full of really great objects too. There was so much to choose from that was really good. So I was excited about it.
Lots of camouflage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Places to hide things. I saw some behind the scenes photos either from possibly Bricks on Set, a friend of mine, Nick, who worked on it, or maybe it was from Brickmaster Jamie's account, some of the other stuff they had in there, and there was like moon shoes and what was it called? Pogo? It was like a round thing that like you would bounce on it.
Disc on it. Oh, my
like
ankles
still
feel
or
that.
something.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, my ankles.
A lot of great 90s toys in there for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a real cool way to bring this challenge back again, but to put a new kind of twist on it, which was really cool to see. Contestants this episode had 10 hours to build, which, again, longer than a lot of previous challenges this season, which is pretty good. But it does take a long time to get those shapes just right for a real-world object compared to building something from your own memory. Yeah. I also really loved the little they did like a different sitcom style intro thing where they had
the laugh tracks.
The laugh tracks and
that threw me off for a minute. I was like tapping on the screen like, what show am I watching?
Watching the right show, yeah.
It's so
somehow
it was
ended
very,
up on some other Will Arnett show.
Like Full House, it was so good.
They had the credits at the beginning with like the names popping up and stuff.
And the intro for Jamie and Amy.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yep. For sure. You want to talk about the costumes now? I know you always like to talk about costumes.
The costumes were top tier.
I've been waiting for this.
Amy and her Clueless homage to Cher in Clueless was so good. She looked amazing. And Jamie this time
had all the wacky colors.
The wacky colors and the fanny pack rocked the fanny pack. Yeah, so shout out to costuming this season. They did a great job.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump right in. So contestants, again, had a little bit of a physical interaction as they had to race into the bedroom to select the objects that they wanted to get.
That's what I wanted, though. I wanted it.
There was a little bit of a wipeout, but we'll get to it in a minute. So in the order that the teams picked their items, at least in the order that it was presented to us, first up was Anne and Luke, who opted to build the bed.
Oh, my.
Initial thoughts on the selection here?
My thoughts are there were not many thoughts going on when the bed was decided.
Yeah.
Very ambitious, very difficult.
Yeah.
Man, it was really shiny too. Like, I'm surprised. Wow, I'll save comments for later.
Yeah. It was shiny, for sure.
Like they were like, can we throw the bedspread on top of it if we don't take it? Like, afterwards, like, they were being real technical thinking about it. And
Will was like, I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, hilarious. Interesting to see that. They did, of course, I'm not surprised, draw the parallel to last season when Sam and Nina picked the large rug.
The rug, yes.
Again, a very ambitious one. And I think this was kind of expected. Anne and Luke all season have been going very ambitious,
big,
very large, and it has sometimes come at the cost of aesthetics. And it's worked out for them in previous times, but
the rug, they had to have the other teams help them eventually finish it, right?
The other teams did hop in to help. I think of their own volition. I mean, they didn't have to. They were being kind. Next up was Sage and Ian, and they selected the keyboard, the electronic keyboard. What do y'all think about this as a selection? I think this was a great pick, honestly.
Oh, I thought it was super cool. I think it was a really good idea. Like, immediately you could see, that could be really cool out of Lego. And Ian had some... he had built something else, another instrument, I think, out of.
Yeah, he said he had built it was something similar. It was like a keytar.
Was it a keytar? I think that might have been it or something.
Like that.
So it was smart of them to pick it.
Yeah.
Keyboards are plastic too, and pretty glossy looking. So to make it out of Lego, it doesn't look too different from the real thing.
A lot of these teams did also pick already plastic or shiny things, which worked to their advantage. Again, Ann and Luke kind of missed that a little bit, but. Yeah, I mean, this is Ian's bread and butter. If you follow him on Instagram, Bricktacular Builds, he's that's most of what he does is like recreating real world objects in near life size scale. So super talented builder, great Instagram account, worth checking out. Let's see. Next up was Corey and Rebecca chose the skateboard with the kind of black and red checkerboard theme. What did y'all think about this as a selection to go with?
I think it's a safe one.
Yeah.
It wasn't too big, not too small. But we just talked about texturing. Skateboards usually have like a rough, sandpapery texture. To do that out of Lego is I think a little risky.
Yeah, a little bit. They did. I think it worked to their advantage that the skateboard was put back in the same position it was when they found it, which was with the grip tape side leaning against the bed. It was that bottom with that checkerboard underside facing out and the wheels and everything. So I think that did help them. So I think it was a pretty good pick. How about you, Randy?
I thought it was a fun pick to do. Compared to some of the other ones that seemed more simple.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, but so they had to figure out how to make it look good. So it was
the judges' critiques of it was kind of small, but I didn't think it was that particularly.
I didn't either.
Small.
Yeah, they said that a lot, but skateboard, that's a pretty good size, and for it being life size, I'm pretty sure I had one very similar to that.
Maybe it was the smallest one in the room, but I mean, in the Is It Brick challenge that we've seen before, there have been teams that have picked some really small objects have suffered because of it. Next up was Ben and Michael. They selected the guitar, nice bright yellow guitar, but it was nice and shiny and glossy. What y'all think about this one?
I was excited to see the build of this one come out because it was a really cool, interesting shape.
Yes,
I wasn't sure if it was how they were gonna get it to look not like Lego, but it's a cool shape and the color was fun. So I think it was a good choice.
Yeah, the shiny glossiness of it was for sure because of the yellow color, because it was so bright. Yeah, I think that's where you started to see more of the seams and things peek through. Had it been like even a red guitar or a blue guitar, it might have been just dark enough to mask it a little bit more. But obviously they didn't get a choice of what color it was. But what did you think about that, Corey? Is that something you would have picked, or would you have stayed away from it?
It's a challenging build. I think it allowed them to show off a little more skill as far as copying. Compared to a skateboard, where it's a pretty easy shape, the guitar had a lot of the curves and the guitar strings. I thought it was one of the better builds.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up was Anthony and Joe, and they selected the amplifier. And this had the large grill on the front, lots of buttons and knobs and dials and things. So I thought this was a pretty good selection as well, kind of similar to the keyboard. But what do y'all think?
I would have picked the amp.
Yeah.
It's a nice, easy box shape. The grill plates on the front were perfect.
Yeah. From a distance, I mean, it looked great. It really sold the effect. They were getting some judges' critiques too, but I don't know. They didn't really jump out to me nearly as much as it seemed like they were critiquing them for. But what did y'all think about that as a pick, Randy?
I liked it. I think that's what I would have picked when I saw it. I think it was really good. And was it Anthony and Joe and I think Ann are the only ones who actually lived in the 90s? Didn't they ask a show of hands who actually lived
Sage
there?
and Ian certainly would have. Corey and Rebecca probably. Yeah, Ben and Michael maybe not. Anthony and Joe.
It was kind of funny. And I think
maybe half and half.
I think it was really smart.
Yeah.
A smart pick.
And they, at least according to the edit, were the ones that picked last.
Right.
But it seemed like one of the better picks for sure. So, all right, let's talk about the actual builds now. So, Ann and Luke building this bed. They built this large Technic frame for it first, and then they were building the sheets basically as these kind of C-shaped sections to lay across it. What do you think about their execution of this? Now that they selected the bed, would you have gone about it a different way? Do you think they picked the smartest way to do it? What would you have done differently, maybe?
You ever seen SpongeBob where he's like carrying his pants around out of his closet and they're just perfectly box shaped?
Yeah.
Even though they're that's my mind went to that when I saw the sheets going on the bed, just these boxy plastic sheets. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll let you go first, Rainey.
I think headboard looked great. I think the headboard was really, really good. They built that really quickly. That looked great. The whole building, the frame underneath, I was like, there's no way. It was so spread out. You just kind of knew disaster was coming, and then where there was no way for those seams to line up to get the support, and it was just, every time I watched, I was just waiting for it. Because it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I think most of us knew it was coming. It was a little too big, a little too ambitious.
Yeah.
I think towards the end, they switched from the Technic frame being the main support for it to, it looked like just base plates with large pillars of columns to try and support it in the middle where it was sagging. I think if they had just done that from the beginning, it probably would have worked better. You know, they could have built the legs to look like the legs of the bed that were more detailed, but then had not actually have those carrying any weight.
Use the blankets to hide all the
right. I don't know what rules there are about how much of it actually has to be connected or touching, but if the legs had just been sitting under their decorative, but it was actually these larger columns holding up the sheets, I think it could have worked better.
I wouldn't have built any bed. I would have just built the legs on the front, the headboard and the footboard, and then a big blanket and something supporting the blanket.
Yeah, pretty much. So it did suffer a pretty major collapse under the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
Again, according to the edit at least, but it seemed pretty legit. It was the bottom half of the sheet just kind of bowed down in the middle. In trying to save it, I think they were holding it at a lot of the corner sections were just coming off. By the time it made it to the judging floor, the thing had pretty much entirely collapsed in the middle, and there was just a lot of piles of loose bricks. Kind of sitting there. This was really hard to watch.
It was. It made me sad.
Yeah.
It did. Oh.
We always hate to see, teams being judged on not their best work or how it was intended to be displayed, and this is maybe one of the worst catastrophes in all of Lego Masters history. I would say.
I was screaming at the TV, "Why? You only have 10 hours. Why would you do that?"
They were really close. They had essentially built everything they needed to build. It just failed at the last minute. And it's really hard to watch. It's hard to see. To answer their question from the beginning, the comforter did not hide it at all. It looked like somebody just kind of halfway
and it was just
through.
Kind of laying on the floor.
The bed was not. Will did not make his bed.
Yeah.
I feel bad for a team when a power function doesn't work or when a door jams, something small like that. So when you see this, it's like,
it's pretty devastating. Yeah. It's hard to see.
They've done a lot of good stuff, so that was hard to see.
Luke was the coaster builder, right, at the convention?
Roller coaster builder,
Really nice guy, too.
They built a lot of great stuff. Again, a lot of times they did the tallest tower. They built the huge grandfather clock. So again, they Luke and Anne like going for really big builds. But we've said before, it often comes at the cost of detail or structural integrity, and I think it finally caught up with them and got the best of them. So. Yeah. Unfortunate to see, but Sage and Ian with the keyboard execution was really fantastic. I mean, the spacing of the keys and everything, all the little buttons and knobs. But what did y'all think about this? Would you have executed it any differently? What were your thoughts about their build overall?
I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
I think theirs was pretty much perfect. How about you, Randy?
Oh yeah, how they lined up all the little buttons and all. I mean, it just how they did it in sections and put it on. It just looked amazing. Yeah. It really did. It was really good.
I really don't have any critiques for it.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was all pretty simple techniques, but because Ian's done this enough, he just has those down pat, all the different proportions you need to know to get stuff snotted in like that, all the little the lettering in the corners and stuff. I'm sure he can do that
and
in
not
his sleep.
one stud showing.
Yeah.
I
think they said not a single stud on the entire build.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Incredible. I did. It was pretty sad at the end when they were dropping all of the builds after being called out, and then he goes, "In honor of your build not being spotted, it will be put on."
I thought they'd keep it.
Thanks to Lego and the Lego group, your build will be on display at.
I honestly thought they were gonna like bring it to Lego House and put it somewhere.
Legoland, Lego House.
That
sure,
should have been
sure.
somewhere. I hope they rebuild that because oh my
I'm
goodness.
so sad.
Yeah.
My husband was like, "No!" We were watching together because it was
That's
so good.
I kind of saw it coming as he was saying it, but I knew for sure when he said the Lego company instead of the Lego group or something. I was like, okay, if they'd actually done this, he would have said the right thing.
Oh.
So yeah. A little bit of a forewarning there, but all right. Next up, so Corey and Rebecca with the skateboard. So they tried a few different things. They were initially trying like roller coaster track for the ends, which was a little weird, but I think what they ended up going with was a little better. But what did y'all think about the actual execution of their build as the skateboard? Would you have done anything differently had you selected this, Randy, or did you like with what they came out with?
The bottom of it and the wheels actually I think look really good, and how they switched up into that outside edges look great. The top just didn't. They were really lucky that it was the grip tape side, which for what it was, I get why they did what they did, but it just looked unfinished to me. The top just looked unfinished. I think the bottom checkerboard pattern looked amazing, and the wheels looked really good. But that was a rough one.
Yeah, so I mean, because they obviously wanted the smooth tiled surface on the bottom, so the top of the skateboard ended up being anti-studs. They did at least, rather than leaving it be the bottom of like the big structural plates, they put like all 1x1s on it, so it gave it kind of like a texture, sort of that waffle kind of texture to it, which was a little interesting. It didn't really look like grip tape, but
I don't know what I would have done other than not pick the skateboard.
Yeah.
You could have had both sides be studs.
Right,
and anti-studs together,
inverted tiles,
but then it would fall apart. So
yeah,
it's not too big of a build.
It was very much a build tailored to the exact challenge and the way that the item was going to be in the challenge.
Yes.
Like it had to be judged standalone as a skateboard with a grip tape side facing up. I think they might have suffered a little more harsh judging, but overall pretty good. Had nice curves, nice and simple with that checkerboard pattern. All right, Ben and Michael with the guitar. This was maybe the most stressed I've ever seen Ben and Michael there in the middle of the challenge. It looked like they were about ready to walk off and give up there, but they reeled it in. They brought it back, and I think they ended up knocking it out of the park. But what did y'all think about the way that they chose to execute this? Obviously, they changed gears a couple times, but what did you think about their finished product, Corey?
I mean, you mentioned the yellow with the seams and stuff. I think I would have tried to hide the seams a little bit more. I'm not sure how you could do that, really. Otherwise, other than the seams, I really liked the build. Yeah, it's up there with the amp and the keyboard. Like those are the top three.
Yeah, a lot of musical stuff.
Yeah, oddly enough, they're all music related. But yeah.
I think it was pretty good. I'm gonna guess that maybe they picked this thinking it was going to be simpler, because it looked like initially they built basically a square yellow box with a lot of snot bricks on the side, and they were planning to just add curved slopes to it. I'm wondering if the selection of available curved slopes was much more limited than they were anticipating. It did come together great after the rebuild, but what did you think, Randy?
Oh, I thought it was good. I was stressed when they were trying to get the handle attached to everything and they pivoted so many times. I was starting to get pretty nervous. And I go, now again, I don't know how they edit it for TV, but I think the final result looked amazing. The top did have a little extra texture to it, but it was, it looked really, really good. And the scale of how these people did everything perfectly, like 1-to-1 on these, was really good.
Yeah, the strings and everything looked great. So I think it worked great. All right, last up was Anthony and Joe. Again, they did the amplifier. They had a few hiccups there where something wasn't lining up. The stud count was off. It seemed like the edit just was kind of making a mountain out of a molehill on that one. It was just
they have to. They got to find an issue and exploit it.
It was just a Technic frame. You just unpin it and you just shift it a little bit. I don't know. It seems pretty fine. But what did y'all think about their execution overall in the end?
I feel like, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I feel like they were kind of being nitpicked at, because I know they were saying like the edges on the end, and I'm like, I feel like they had to zoom in so much to show it. I was like, you didn't even see that, like big picture, you didn't see it, and even like zoomed in a little bit, you didn't. I mean, you had to really get in there. So I just thought it was really, really cool. I think they really did a great job, and it looked just like the amplifier. Yeah.
Well, and again, the other thing that helped them out a lot was it was black. It was a really dark color, and so it hid a lot of those gaps when you're looking at it.
It looked more realistic.
If you pick a bright yellow guitar, it can be a perfectly tiled over brick built surface, but you're going to see those little seams in the Lego bricks, and it'll make it jump out a lot more. If it's a much darker color, it's just going to kind of disappear into the background. It worked for Sage and Ian with the keyboard, worked pretty well for Anthony and Joe with the amp. It hit a lot of those gaps, but yeah, I guess the judges, upon closer scrutiny, we're still seeing some misalignments and things.
And they have to find something.
Yeah.
I think when they can't see anything glaring, they have to nitpick.
Yeah,
So.
at this point, we're within the last 3 episodes, so they got to critique everybody a little bit and keep them on their toes. But did you have any other thoughts about their build overall?
I thought some of the grills didn't look quite pushed all the way down, and I'm guilty of that. I get building quickly, and then I look at it from a distance, and I'm like, So, I don't know. Honestly, overall, it was really good, though.
Yeah. The judges kind of praised them for mixing in like some other colors of grills. I think that actually made it stick out too much to me. I think if they had made them all one color, it probably would have blended in. Because when you mix in the other grills, you get that clear, like,
texture,
jagged edge, kind of pixelated look, as opposed to...
Do you know what colors they were using? Was it the flat silver or the light gray?
It had to have been a mixture of, probably flat silver and maybe light bluish gray and dark bluish gray. I don't know if they still make the metallic silver ones in that part or not. I know they did at one time. They were fairly common.
Like
but
the
I don't know if they
pearly
still
silver.
The like metallic ink, the like drum lacquered silver. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, either way, I think theirs was great. Again, right up there with the keyboard. They had a lot of nice little knobs, and I think there was even some little brick built text in there as well. All right, so on to the judging here. So, of course, the first part of this was that there was a special guest that came to do the judging. So for this particular episode, I believe it was the last time they did Is It Brick, they brought back, was it just Stacy, or was it Nick and Stacy? I think it was just Stacy.
I think it was just Stacy.
From Nick and Stacy,
Yeah.
the winners of season 3, I guess it would have to have been.
season 3, yeah.
Three?
Yeah.
She was the winner of 3 because the last
Yeah.
episode was, season 4. So this time they brought back Mark and Steven from season 2 to do the judging. Mark was the one who actually did do the judging. And so they put some time on the clock. What was it, 60 seconds?
60
I
seconds.
think in a minute, yeah.
60 seconds to spot as many Lego builds as they could. And I wrote down the order here that they were spotted. So first was actually Ben and Michael with the guitar.
Yeah.
So again, despite
Those
being
seams, they pop.
a really good build, just the vibrant color, I think, naturally
Made your
drew
eyes
the
just
eye
go
to
it,
it, for sure. So it seemed that it didn't suffer for them too much in the judging. They didn't end up in the top 2 or the bottom 2, really. All right, second up spotted was Corey and Rebecca with the skateboard. Again, probably just, even though they had those shiny tiles with the red color, maybe you saw the seams in them.
It just stands out.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe the wheels were a little bit too shiny. You know, skateboard wheels are usually pretty
Right.
rough and
Yeah.
not glossy.
Yeah.
Third up was Anthony and Joe with the amplifier. Actually,
Yeah. I still can't believe you didn't see the bowl.
Oh, the
It was
bed.
Like the whole time,
Didn't see
I
the
can't
what?
believe the bed.
Oh, the
I
bed.
still can't
I
believe
know.
it took them this longer. It was just one of those.
Again, it
Because
could
we
be.
saw it because
Well, there was
It
some
could be like
furniture in front of the bed.
Yes.
There was stuff in front of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it could be like Sam and Nina again. You know, it was
Yeah.
more low, kind of
way
flat
it's
to the
like,
ground.
yeah.
So
You're not
There's a
looking
lot
there.
to look at
Yeah.
too. There's so much going on in that
it's
room.
as much picking a good object as it is picking a strategic placement or location or how much field of view it actually takes
And don't
up.
forget, you had Jason Bateman looking at you.
That's true.
mean,
That's pretty
that's
distracting.
hard to focus.
I'm
Pretty
surprised nobody
distracting.
picked a poster to put on the wall.
Can you
They
imagine
just
that?
built a Lego poster.
Yeah.
That would have jumped out too much.
I
So
think
even
it
if
would
you've done a
have.
mosaic,
It would have been
would-
fun.
Yeah.
I know. You know, you can do it when you get on the show.
There you
Corey.
go, Corey.
Let's see. That was the amplifier was third. Fourth was the bed.
Yeah.
The last one that was spotted. It was only because there was a pile of loose bricks
Yeah.
sitting on the floor. Again, I guess the comforter was covering it just enough. When we saw it from the aerial view, it was obvious, but I guess across the room, maybe not so much. Sage and Ian with the keyboard were safe. It was kind of off to the side by like the closet door, just like leaning up against a bookshelf.
Edge of the room.
Never spotted.
Yeah.
I thought the keyboard would be safe because they won, but no.
It looked
Yeah,
so good.
no, it was just did not get spotted. So that I'm sure played into the judging, but was not the ultimate decision. So when Amy and Jamie announced the winner of this challenge, they did give it to Sage and Ian with the keyboard. I think because it was a great build up close and did not get spotted from afar. Seemed like a pretty natural winner. The bottom 2, however, were Anne and Luke with the bed. I think just because they had some pretty significant structural failures, it's kind of hard to forgive that, despite it being very ambitious. And then Corey and Rebecca with the skateboard. This one, I don't know. I was kind of surprised. But what did y'all think? Do y'all think anybody else should have been the bottom two, or was this the right call?
It wasn't bad, but everything else was just so good.
Yeah.
I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
Right.
We talked about all the other ones, how good they were. We were able to nitpick a little bit on the skateboard. So, I don't like to pick losers, but eventually...
Yeah, we're getting to that point of the season.
People got to go home.
Yeah.
How about you, Randy? You think this was the right call?
I think it was. The skateboard thing, that was, once you picked your item, the judges gave you no feedback when you were picking anything. They walked out, and then they kept saying how you picked the smallest thing. You can't pivot. This is what it is, and you have to build it to scale, so there's nothing you can do other than try to make it the best you can. And I do think they did make it really well, but it's just compared to the other 3 builds, they were... third.
That's frustrating to work with too, though. It's a very thin object.
I think the judges are really specifically trying to encourage Corey and Rebecca to go bigger. I think at this point we've just got the semifinals and the finals. So I mean, if they're gonna last, they have to build bigger and more impressive.
Next week better be big. Yeah.
That could be part of the reason that Jamie and Amy chose to put them in the bottom two, was to maybe try and really light a fire under them to get them to build bigger if they're gonna continue to last. So. That could be a contributing factor as well. So that was the judging. That was the bottom two. Anne and Luke did sadly end up getting sent home this week. I was expecting them to make it to the finals just on their building technique, but unfortunately they got they bit off more than they could chew this week. I think it was the right call, but what about y'all? You think it was the right call this week?
I think they would have had a chance at winning.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
Picking the bed was the nail in the coffin. So. Yeah.
How about you, Randy? Right call this week? Do you think they could have made it to the finals?
I do think. I think they could have made it. I think making the bed, I think they got a little ahead of themselves with it, and they just couldn't get that structure of what they needed to put. Because I think the way they made the sheet to go over it could have worked, but there's just not enough structure, and they just didn't have enough time. That 10 hours just killed them.
It's unfortunate.
They made their bed, and then they had to lie.
Now they have to lie in. Now they have to lie in. Yeah.
He thought about that 3 days ago.
5 minutes ago.
Is this the first? This isn't the first mother-son team. No, we've had other mother-son teams. Yeah. But it was a fun team to have.
They were a
really
great
fun
team.
Yeah.
Again,
builds.
I think they've had this issue before. Again, they did the tallest tower challenge. They did the big grandfather clock. They went big, and it came at a cost before. They were just still safe kind of in the middle of the pack.
Can't do that
It
this far along,
It just
though.
caught up with them.
You can't take big risks.
They got too ambitious, I think. They flew too close to the sun.
Yeah.
So I think it was the right call. Sad to see them go. I would have liked to seen what they would have been able to do in the finals. But that being said, we will wait it out to see in the semifinals out of Ben and Michael, Anthony and Joe, Sage and Ian, and Corey and Rebecca. We will have one more elimination before going to the finals. I did also do a little bit of tabulation here as we get closer to the finals of the win record and not lost record, but bottom two.
Okay.
So this was kind of interesting statistics here, so stay tuned for this. Sage and Ian have won 1 challenge, and we're in the bottom 2 for 1 challenge. The one they were in the bottom 2 for was the head-to-head versus challenge. So it was technically like bottom 4 because there were 8 teams at the time. Corey and Rebecca won 1 challenge. We're in the bottom 2 once. Ben and Michael, the ones that people are always saying, oh, they win all the time, they're so good, they're undefeatable. They've won twice. They've also been in the bottom 2 twice.
Yeah.
Again, one of those was that head-to-head challenge, so there was an extra amount.
1.5 losses.
Yeah.
1.5, sure. Anthony and Joe have also won twice, the same number of times as Ben and Michael. They've never been in the bottom 2.
Wow.
Anthony and Joe have never been on the chopping block.
Gotta watch out.
Even in that head-to-head challenge.
They could sneak in there.
They could sneak in there.
Skill.
And we know that in the finals, your kind of win-loss record like this does play into the final judging in addition to your finale build. So could be interesting to see. Just saying, Ben and Michael are maybe not as unbeatable as everyone makes them out to be.
It's a pretty tough competition this year, though. Like, I actually don't know who's going to win. At this point, last season, a lot of people kind of had a good feeling of who's going to win. So
it's the nature of every season is early on there's a big disparity in kinds of different levels of building, but when you get this late it really starts to pick up a lot of speed and interest. This is one of my favorite challenges. I'm glad they kind of saved it till the end. So we saw some really talented builds this week, and it's getting harder and harder to send people home. So but yeah, some interesting statistics there for y'all. Looking forward to next week, the semifinals. Presumably, unless there's another week where they skip, somebody will get sent home, and we will have our final 3 teams. Next week's episode is going to be the greatest ball contraption episode.
I can't wait. That's going to be exciting.
If you've ever been to a Lego convention before, watched pretty much any Beyond the Brick video, it's one of their most viewed videos, which is why they do them at every convention they go to. The Great Ball Contraption is a series of Rube Goldberg-esque sort of marble machines.
You got to move a ball from one place to another place in the most needlessly complicated way possible.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it becomes even more needlessly complicated by linking all of these separate modules together into a big non-stop loop that's transporting these little, they usually use the like basketballs and soccer ball
look at them using ping pongs.
This one,
way bit, right?
Adapting it for Lego Masters. Yes, they're using ping pong balls, which are much larger.
I've not seen that before at Lego.
Way more lightweight.
Yeah, the
which
weight.
We already saw some issues with some teams with it just spilling over the sides because it's so lightweight. So this is going to prove a really difficult challenge. What do y'all think about this one and the way they've kind of adapted a staple of Lego conventions into a Lego Masters challenge?
I think it's smart. It's smart. It's a very popular thing people do. I used to make those as kids all the time with marbles and the
absolutely.
track, so
I love marble machines and little roller coasters and tracks and things like that. But
we'll see.
I don't know. I think it would have been more compelling if it would have been easier, but to be a more direct correlation to use like golf balls or just a larger, heavier ball. This ping pong ball looks really, really difficult. What do you think about this challenge so far, Randy?
I love these Great Ball contraptions. I love at the convention stuff. I'll sit there for a long time, more than I should, watching it go continuously. But I'm interested to see how they tie everything together with it. But that ping pong ball, that's got me nervous.
Golf balls would have been a good idea.
And Great Ball Contraptions at convention, a lot of the builders who are into building GBC modules are very technically minded, right? They're trying to do an interesting way of grabbing the ball, manipulating it, maneuvering it to pass it from one module to the next. The most successful GBC modules, the ones that win awards, are ones that do that in an interesting way using interesting parts, but have a really like interesting or humorous like aesthetic application to it. There's one that always stands out to me that won a few years ago that's like a big toilet bowl and like the balls come to the top and then they swirl around the toilet bowl and they go down.
The carnival ride this year was cool. The carnival rides that were also moving the balls at the same time.
For sure. So there are a lot of GBC builders out there who build pretty much strictly technically. You know, they'll use all Technic parts in just a jumble of colors and it'll look kind of like a mess, but like the mechanism of some of them like grab the ball with little prongs or there's little cups that pass them, and so they're very fascinating to watch. But again, aesthetics is what really sets apart GBC modules. So it'll be interesting. Of course, we'll talk about this more next week. It'll be really interesting to see how teams kind of balance those two. But the ping pong balls is going to be a real challenge.
They're so bouncy.
The other thing that's kind of surprising to me is that they didn't do this earlier in the season. I mean, the whole thing with GBC modules is that you string a bunch of them.
They should have done it when they had everybody on the show.
Have 12 teams. I mean, they've done that before with. They've done ones with usually in the first couple episodes where it's. There was the one that was the parade, but that's not what one I was thinking of. There was one that was like a train or something that
around
passed through like
a
city or like different genres of things and stuff.
A group layout.
Yeah, I don't know if these GBC modules are going to have to work together with each other or if it's just going to be more like building a standalone kind of
find out.
group goal.
I think it's going to be standalone.
I'm really excited for this. I can't wait to talk about it more next week, though. So. That being said, thank you all for joining us for this episode of Between the Studs. Thank you to Corey and Randy for joining me as well. Please leave a like on this video if you've not done so already. Just hit that little thumbs up button. It really helps us out a lot. Consider subscribing to us here on Atlanta Brick Co. TV if you want to get more cool, interesting Lego content. Again, we've only got a couple weeks left of Lego Masters episode reviews before we go back to our regularly scheduled types of videos and things. But thank you all for watching and sticking with us, and we will see you next week on Between the Studs. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody. See you.